If your build is not sitting around that 1150% damage mark yet, I'm just gonna be real with you. You're probably doing something wrong. But don't worry, because in this video, I'm going to walk you through everything you need step by step. And by the time you finish watching, you're going to understand exactly how to reach that level of damage and even push beyond it. Because a lot of players miss small details in their build, and those small mistakes end up costing them hundreds of percentage points in damage. That's why today, we're not just going over a basic setup, we're going deep into a fully optimized, updated damage build that actually works. And if you're serious about improving your gameplay, hitting higher damage numbers, and staying ahead of other players, then this is a video you definitely don't want to skip. Stick all the way through, because every section builds on the last one, and missing even one part could hold you back from reaching your full potential. So with that being said, let's get started and break down this updated max damage build. Let's begin with C1. If you've already completed everything here, feel free to skip ahead to C2, but for those still progressing, this part is extremely important because it lays the foundation for your entire damage build. First, let's talk about runes, which are one of the most important components when it comes to maximizing your damage output. The rune you should be aiming for is the Primordial Rune, as it provides a massive 120% damage boost, making it one of the strongest upgrades. To obtain this rune, you'll first need to unlock Tower Island. Once you have access to it, your next goal is to farm Tower Keys, which are dropped by NPCs. The fastest and most efficient way to gather these keys is by grinding at Lawless Island in C1, since enemies are high levels which have a higher chance to drop Tower Keys. After collecting enough keys, you can begin running the tower. Your ultimate objective is to reach a total of 10,000 waves, which guarantees the Primordial Rune. However, it's important to understand that this is a long-term grind. While there is a chance to obtain the rune earlier, the drop rate is extremely low, ranging from 0.02% to 0.013%, so you shouldn't rely on luck alone. The most efficient strategy is to set your runs to 50 waves, clear them as quickly as possible, and then reset. This allows you to maximize speed and efficiency on reaching 10,000 waves fast. A highly recommended method is to AFK grind overnight. Simply set up an auto-clicker to keep your character active so you won't get kicked from the game. By repeating this process consistently, you'll steadily build progress toward that 10,000 waves. Now let's move on to another major part of your damage build, your traits, race, and clan. These three work together and can significantly boost your overall damage if you choose the right combination. Starting with traits, the best one you should aim for right now is the Emperor trait. This trait gives a massive 130% damage increase, making it the strongest option currently in the game. If you manage to roll this, you're already setting yourself up for a top-tier build. Next, let's talk about race, which depends heavily on the type of spec you're using. If you're a melee main like me, then Warlord is the best choice because it provides around 80% bonus damage, which is incredibly strong and fits perfectly with close-range builds. On the other hand, if you're running a sword-based spec, then you'll want to go for Luckborn. It also gives about 80% damage, but the difference comes down to how each race complements your playstyle and abilities. So make sure you pick the one that matches your build. Finally, we have clans, which add another layer of damage and passive bonuses for melee players. The upper clan is the best option because it gives around 40% damage, along with a very powerful passive that enhances your overall performance. Meanwhile, if you're focusing on sword builds, the Devil clan is a solid pick. It offers 12% sword damage plus an additional 40% total damage, making it extremely effective for maximizing sword-based output. When you combine the right trait, race, and clan, you'll notice a huge difference in your damage, bringing you much closer to that maxed out build. Now let's move on to artifacts, which are one of the most essential parts of your build. Artifacts don't just increase your raw damage. Artifacts give 110% of damage depending on how you build the set. They also boost important substats like critical chance and critical damage, which play a huge role in maximizing your overall DPS. To unlock the artifact system, you'll need to talk to the artifact vendor on Snow Island. There are a few requirements before you can access it. You must be at least level 2,500, have 500,000 cash, and 500 gems. Once you unlock it, artifacts will start dropping from enemies, bosses, and dungeons. And naturally, higher level content gives you better chances at higher rarity drops. The main set you want to focus on is the Abyssal Crown set, since it provides strong boosts to damage, along with additional critical chance and critical damage, making it perfect for a high DPS build. After you obtain the set, your next goal is to upgrade it using Artifact Dust. You can get Artifact Dust by deleting unwanted artifacts, especially lower tier ones like Common, Rare, Epic, and even some legendaries that don't fit your build. It takes around 287 dust to fully max out a single artifact, so consistency is key here. Once you've built your set, keep grinding and upgrading, and always prioritize stats that improve your damage output and crit performance. This is where you really start to see your build come together. Next is the max skill tree system, which gives 25% damage to your setup. To unlock the skill tree in Sailor Peace, you must reach at least level 7,000 and pay 1,000 gems to the Skill Master NPC located on Slime Island. Once unlocked, you earn skill points at a rate of 1 point for every 250 NPCs you defeat, because you need roughly 430 points to max out every branch, including damage, HP, crit chance, crit damage, and luck. The most efficient farming method is to ignore bosses and focus on high-density mob areas, like Shinjuku Island. To maximize your speed, use fruit with massive AO attacks, such as the Quake Fruit, and use Seaquake move to wipe out entire groups of enemies in a single hit, allowing you to rack up thousands of kills in a short amount of time. Then, when you have skill points already, prioritize your luck first. But if you want to reach peak power quickly, you should prioritize the damage branch first, followed immediately by critical damage and critical chance. Maxing out the damage branch provides a consistent baseline for every attack, but the real power spikes occur when you invest in the critical branches, as they multiply your total output exponentially. Once your offensive stats are capped, invest in the luck branch to improve your drop rates for high-tier artifacts and items, leaving HP for last, since high-level players usually focus on one-shotting enemies before taking damage themselves. Now let's go to the upgrades. First, what you need to do is to max out Boss Rush to get a high damage percentage as soon as possible. Boss Rush is another key system that can significantly boost your overall stats, and it gives 25% damage in your setup. To enter Boss Rush, you'll first need a Rush Key. You can get these by farming world bosses or simply buying them for 175 gems from the general merchants. Once you have a key, head over to Sailor Island and talk to the Boss Rush NPC to open the portal and start your run. For efficiency, the best strategy here is to run medium difficulty and use a high AO specs like King of Heroes or Ice Queen. These specs allow you to clear all 15 waves in under 45 seconds, which is incredibly fast and gives you a consistent 5 to 7 rush coins per run. The goal is to stack up coins as quickly as possible because fully maxing out Boss Rush requires a total of 6,625 rush coins. This will allow you to upgrade all 5 stat branches to max damage, critical damage, critical chance, HP, and luck. Next up are the tower upgrades, which we briefly mentioned earlier. So I'll keep this part simple and straight to the point. While you're grinding the tower for your primordial rune, you'll also be earning tower tokens. And this is where you can start building even more damage on the side. These tokens can be spent on upgrades at Tower Island, and one of the most important boosts you get here is up to 25% additional damage, which makes a noticeable difference in your overall output. To fully max out your tower upgrades, you'll need a total of 36,500 tower tokens. By the time you're done, That extra damage boost will help push your build even closer to its full potential. Now let's move on to Spec Passive and Power, which are both crucial systems for pushing your damage even further. Think of them as advanced role mechanics, similar to your race, traits, and clan, but more focused on enhancing your spec directly. Starting with Spec Passive. This is a late-game feature that provides strong buffs to your abilities. You can unlock it by talking to the NPC on Judgment Island, but you'll need at least 10,000 XP and 5,000 gems before you can access it. When it comes to choosing the best passive, you'll want to aim for Rampage. This passive is extremely powerful, giving around 30% max damage, along with solid boosts to critical chance and critical damage, plus an additional passive effect that makes it even more valuable for high DPS. Next is Power, which you can reroll by heading to Lawless Island and speaking to the Power Master. Just like Spec Passive, this is another layer of optimization for your build. The best option to go for here is Subjugator, as it provides about 40% max damage, alongside good crit stats and a strong passive that complements your overall damage output. You'll need Passive and Power Shards, which drop naturally from defeating NPC enemies. This means that no matter what you're doing, whether it's grinding levels, farming runes, or completing other content, you'll be steadily collecting the resources needed to reroll and improve these buffs. Now let's move on to Haki, which is another major boost to your overall damage, and something you definitely don't want to overlook in the game. There are 3 types of Haki: Armament, Observation, and Conqueror. Out of the 3, Armament Haki and Conqueror Haki are the ones that directly increase your damage. Armament alone gives around 75.5%, while Conqueror adds about 34%, which totals to roughly 100% extra damage when combined. So you can already see how huge this is for your build. Observation Haki doesn't increase damage directly, but it's still important because it's a requirement to unlock Conqueror Haki. If you're not sure where to get each one, here's a quick guide. You can unlock Armament Haki on Snow Island, Observation Haki on Desert Island, and Conqueror Haki on Shibuya Island. Just remember, you'll need Observation first before you can access Conqueror. Once you have all 3, your next goal is to max out their levels to unlock their full potential. The fastest way to do this is by going into your settings, enabling auto skills, then turning on auto Haki for the type you want to level. From there, just keep grinding as usual, and your Haki will level up in the background. It's a simple but very effective way to gain a massive damage boost while doing your normal farming. Now let's talk about player stats, which is another important piece of your overall damage setup. When you head over to Sailor Island, you'll find the Stat Master, who lets you reroll your stats using gems. What you're aiming for here is AZ rank in damage. I know that sounds tough, and it definitely is, but that's the ideal roll because it gives around 37% bonus damage, which is a massive boost. If you're not quite there yet, don't worry. Landing an SSS rank is already very strong and can carry you, while you keep rerolling for something better. To keep rolling, you'll need a steady supply of gems, and the best way to farm them is by completing quests and collecting chests. A lot of players overlook this, but if you already have chests sitting in your inventory, make sure to open them right away, since they can give you a huge amount of gems. The more gems you stack, the more chances you get at hitting that perfect stat roll. Also, before I forget, also use your legendary ore and cosmetic. It will give you 30% plus damage. Alright, that covers everything for C1. So now let's move on to C2, where things really start to scale up. First, let's talk about the best specs and blessings. I didn't include blessings earlier because they're tied to specs, so it makes more sense to explain them together here, right now. For melee builds, the top picks are the World and Cosmic Being. These are part of the more recent updates, which is why they currently dominate the game. They simply offer stronger abilities and better overall damage compared to older specs. For sword users, the best options are Ice Queen, Anti-Magic, and Dragon Goddess. All 3 have excellent damage, output and strong skill sets that make them reliable for both farming and boss content. Once you've secured your preferred spec, the next step is to upgrade its blessing. Head over to Shibuya or World Island in C2 and find the Blessing NPC. Your goal here is to reach Blessing level 10 on the spec you are planning to main. This is important because blessings provide additional boosts of 25% damage that further enhance your damage and overall performance. Next up is Bloodline, another system that contributes directly to your overall damage. Right now, the best option to aim for is the demonic Bloodline, especially with the current update, since it provides around 32% bonus damage, which is a very solid boost for any build. The way you obtain Bloodlines is pretty straightforward. You just need to grind NPCs and see beasts in C2, and over time, you'll start getting Bloodline rolls naturally. This system works similarly to clans and races, where you're essentially re-rolling until you land on the one you want. Next up are relics, which are another key part of your damage build. They may not be as difficult to obtain as runes, but they still provide a solid boost. Around 30% additional damage, which is definitely something you don't want to miss. Instead of relying on luck like rune drops, relics are more about farming and crafting, so your progress here is much more consistent. To get started, head over to Bizarre Island and talk to the relic crafter. From there, you'll be able to see all the required materials needed to craft each relic. Your job is to farm those specific parts by defeating enemies tied to those materials. Once you've gathered everything, you can craft the relic and equip it just like a rune. Next up is our accessories, which add a huge amount of damage to your build. Right now, the best accessory in the game is the Demon Wing, inspired by Oster from Black Clover. You can obtain this by grinding Crystal Defense, and once fully upgraded, it provides an incredible 140% damage boost. However, there's an important detail a lot of players miss. You'll need around 30 Demon Wings. This is because you'll be enchanting them, and to reach the full potential, you need to push the accessory to enchant level 10. To do this, head over to the enchant area located near the Blessing NPC we talked about earlier, and keep rolling until you max it out. It takes time, but the payoff is absolutely worth it. Alongside accessories, titles also play a big role in increasing your damage. The best title currently is Demon Dweller, which gives around 100% damage. Just like the Demon Wing, you can get this by consistently grinding Crystal Defense. To access this mode, head to Punch Island in C2 and find the 3 NPCs that open the raid. Before you can start, you'll need Crystal Keys, which can be farmed efficiently on Starter Island in C2. A great method here is using a wide area ability like a Quakesy skill to clear multiple enemies quickly and increasing your chances of getting keys. While you're farming Crystal Defense, you'll also be earning Crystal Coins, which are used for crystal upgrades, another system similar to tower upgrades when fully maxed. This system gives an additional 25% damage, but it requires a total of 43,350 crystal coins, so it's definitely a long-term grind. That said, the smartest approach is to combine everything into one grind. Focus on running Crystal Defense to farm your Demon Wings, unlock the Demon Dweller title, work toward weapons like anti-magic, and collect enough coins to max your upgrades. By doing all of this at the same time, you're progressing multiple parts of your build in one go, which saves a lot of time and it makes the grind much more efficient. And that's it, guys. We've officially reached 1,150% total damage in this build. Hopefully this guide helped you understand everything step by step. But if I missed anything or you have questions, feel free to drop them in the comments and I'll check them out. If you enjoyed the video or found it helpful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out a lot. And remember, once we hit 100 likes, I'll be giving away a 2x Drops Game Pass to 3 lucky viewers. So make sure you're entered by liking the video and commenting your username. That's all for today. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next video.